Everyone. You're welcome to our career development podcast on the New Generation Man channel. Thank you so much for making our time to join us again this weekend. And as we do every weekend, we bring different topics that have to do with career so that we have all the information to, move to the next level and, elevate our careers. So today, particularly, we'll be talking about resumes. We're going to be taking a deep dive into what makes a good resume, mastering your resume, and how to create a winning resume for you. Okay, so that you can have, the best version of yourself in form of a CV when you're submitting applications. So, in the course of this seminar, I'll introduce myself. I'll tell you my experience as a career coach, and then we'll go right into the topic of mastering a winning CV and the things you need to do to get started with your CV review. Okay. So without further delay, I'll be sharing my screen so as to give you the presentation I have so that will guide my conversations. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, please, if you can see my screen and my PowerPoint, please give a thumbs up so that I'll know that you can see it. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so mastering resume writing and how to create a winning resume. So crafting a CV that stands out to land you an interview is an essential skill that you need to have in a competitive job market. That's the topic. So introducing myself, I'm Segun Bashun, a customer experience leader with over 10 years. And my goal is to help mid-career professionals land their dream roles and get the best value in their careers. I also offer career coaching services. Over the past 3 years, I've been able to mentor a lot of professionals and I've reviewed over 300 resumes during that time. So I kind of have an experience in this matter. So that's part of the reason why I'm putting up this training. So this training is going to guide you with the skills that you need to create a outstanding resume to land your dream job. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to be dissecting it into different parts and I'll explain as we go along. So the importance and types of resume. So there are different types of resume. There's the academic resume and there's a professional resume. And there could be a resume that you'd also use if you're looking for a job, maybe in fashion as a model. So depending on the type of industry you're targeting and the type of roles that you are looking at for, that's going to determine the type of resume you have and the details that you're going to be placing on the resume. For example, if you're looking for a job as a hair hostess, for example, you might need to ensure that your image is on the resume because for those type of roles, they want to see a picture. So you know that, okay, is this person visually appealing? Or if you are looking for a job as a model, something like that, you might have to picture. But for general, job search, if the role is not really specific about facial features and things like that, you don't necessarily, add your picture. So if you are doing an academic CV, that is maybe you are trying to write your CV for your master's degree or for furthering of your education, that's also a different type of CV. And we also have CVs for, searching for jobs normally, but also that one too also has different types depending on the country and maybe the type of industry you're trying to get into. But most of the time, it's always specified by the country that you are looking at for. So there are different types of resume, but this seminar is not really about the types of resume. It's more about how can we stand out, and get the best of, the resumes that we have and what we are expected to do. Moving on. Okay, so moving on to the next point, which is the key component of a resume. So you need to include your information very clearly. Maybe I would have to switch over to maybe my resume after I run through the training so that I will show you an example of how a resume is supposed to be. So your information has to be clear, accurate, and it has to have your full name, your phone number, and your email. So when you're having your resume, those are one of the first things that a recruiter is going to look at. They're going to make sure that your name is clearly stated. And for the name, I always advise that people use their first name and last names and avoid putting middle names. It's not as if middle name is wrong, but you want to actually stand out, you get, and you want the recruiter or anybody who's scrolling to your CV to be able to remember your name quickly and identify you. So putting your first name and last name, I think is fine, so that people can easily just take notice of you, and make your name short as possible, as much as you can. Some people don't like shortening their names, and they have their reasons. But I would advise that for you, the reason why I'm shortening it is because not because maybe they don't appreciate your name, do you get that kind of thing? It's so that you can be easily remembered. Do you understand? So that's why I would say you should shorten it. So, but make sure that it's clear, your phone number is visible, your email is visible in case they want to email you for details of the interview. Okay, so the next part after your contact information. So in your contact information place, you can also add the link to your, for example, your LinkedIn profile or your GitHub, for those maybe that are software developers or they're data analysts or they have a portfolio they want to showcase. It's always very important that you can put some of those details here, okay? So it's possible we might still look at an example as we go along. Okay, so her professional summary. So that will be the next thing. So after you've given us your name, the next thing you're going to be giving us is a professional summary. So we want to have a quick overview of who you are, your experience, and the value that you deliver. So for the professional summary, this is what I advise everyone to do. You need to give us a brief overview of who you are, your experience, and the value that you will deliver to the value that you deliver to the organizations you work with, and how that value that it delivers has brought growth to the company. So let me take it again. Number one, tell us who you are, your years of experience, the value you've delivered to the organizations that you've worked with, and how it impacted growth. So in your professional summary, that is if it's 5 lines or 5 lines or four to 3 lines of 3 sentences, that should say that there. So those things have to be there because at a glance, they need to know, okay, who is this person, the years of experience you have, the value that you deliver, and how this thing is going to help the organization. That needs to be very clear in your first statement to grab the attention of everyone looking at your CV. It's very important. So after you've written that, the next step is now your work experience. So in days of old, for a lack of a better word, educational qualification was like the main thing. But now experience is more vital. Okay, so for some people, we see mistakes where people would put their educational qualification just after their summary, professional summary. So, but the next thing we need to see is actually your work experience, because we want to see, okay, you've told us who you are, you've told us your years of experience, you've told us the value that you deliver, and the next thing we want to see is the details of the places that you've worked. So for those maybe that are young professionals or you feel that they don't have a lot of experience, okay, it doesn't still matter. In your career summary, you still state the value that you deliver and what you've done to help organization. Then you state the work experiences that you have. So for people that maybe are maybe fresh graduates or are just finishing school and they don't have a lot of experience, you can leverage on your internships, and you can also leverage on maybe some of the volunteer works that you've done over a period of time that can serve as your work experience. So your work experience also needs to be written in the most recent, then down. So that's how you're supposed to write it. And also, when you're writing the details of your experience, you need to write it in terms of the value that you deliver and in terms of metrics. For example, you can say I coordinated, I managed. Those keywords are very important to like summarize your experience and let us know what you actually did in those roles. I'll give a customer experience example. If maybe, for example, you pick calls, you would say that, okay, I attended to, let's say, 100 calls per day, and I was able to get, for example, 90% satisfaction ratings on all the calls that were made. Yes, you were able to tell us your activities that you did, and you're able to give us in matrix the value that you delivered. So that's very important. So that's a good example of how you can state the work that you did with matrix and the value that you delivered. Another important thing now you should also put is the skills. Okay, so the skills is actually very important. Okay, now this person with this job summary experience, what skills are actually important to you? Most of the time, the skills should actually even come before the work experience. Sorry, I missed that. But you can do it vice versa. But depending, for me, by the time I show you my CV, I probably put the skills first before the work experience. Okay, so but the skills is very important. The skills is just a short summary of the things that you can do. There, that's where you have your critical thinking, your critical thinking skills. You have your customer experience skills. For example, effective communication, like things that you know that you can do. Coaching for some people that maybe you are applying for a leadership role, and you know that okay, part of the requirements for this role is maybe coaching and feedback, project management, coordination, things that you're skilled at, administrative support, operations. There are different types of skill. For someone that is a customer service professional now, you can put something like customer journey mapping, CRM optimization, like the key skills that you have. Those are the things that you add there, or the things you're passionate about. So that's what you're going to add in the section for the skills. Then moving along, certifications too. So before education, I always advise that you put certifications, because the way the work culture is going now is more about what you can deliver in terms of skills and experience. So as much as education is important, for some roles, highlighting your education may not be like the first thing you want to see. So if you have certifications, for example, that are relevant to what you're applying for, it's always better to kind of list that on top before the education. So for example, if you're applying for a customer service success manager, for example, and you have certifications in customer success and all that, you need to put those at the top so that they can see that, okay, this person is very qualified for this role. So after you put that, you can then maybe add your achievements. If you have maybe achievement, because for some people, they try to put the achievement in a separate section instead of including it in the job description. For me, I think you can do it both ways. Okay. If your achievements are really like outstanding, and you want to highlight it, you can put it in a separate section. But for me, I don't think that is necessary. So I put the achievements, maybe like the last three details in the job description. Do you understand? So that it shows that during the time when I worked in this place, apart from these activities that I did, these are the achievements. For some people, they like to like put everything together in a section and highlight it. That's also fine. But for me, I would prefer to just add it at the end of each section. So, the way I describe CV and the way I work on CVs is because I try to work with what the client is trying to achieve. So it's not a one size fits all kind of thing, but I still need to highlight the things that are important. Another reason why sometimes you need to put, the details of the achievement in, as maybe the last three in the job descriptions that you're writing is because people want to know that, okay, you worked in this place for so time, so time. After all these things that you claim you did, what is like the actual achievements? Do you understand? So that's why it's important to kind of like write those achievements there so that they will see that during the time when you worked in this particular place, these were the achievements. But for some people just feel to like gather it together and highlight it, that's also fine. But for me, I would prefer that you highlight it on each role so that they can see that during the time that you worked in this organization, this is what you achieved. So that's that. So certifications that you have, you also put it there. Then achievements, you can also put that in between or later. Then that can come, the education can then come after that. Okay. So as regarding education, for you have to start with your most recent, which for most people, it would be their PhD, their masters, and their bachelors. So for some people that have masters, and BSc, for me, I'll just feel you should list your masters and your BSc. There's no need for you to list your secondary school. It's not really necessary because once the higher your qualifications, the better you just place those ones there. Because, excuse me, you have a master's degree. Do you understand? There's no way you can have masters if you don't have BS. Do you understand? So there's really no point for you listing your secondary school and showing progression. No. So if you have higher qualifications, it's always better that you list those on top and second. But if you have lower ones, there is no need. In fact, I've even reviewed resume for some people that they'll be putting first school living certificate, primary school. Obviously, you went to primary school. So, they don't need to know that you get. But for some people that maybe they have only just WAEC, do you understand? You can just highlight, okay, the WAEC. But the point is that the more experience you have, the more qualifications you have, is the highest that you list on top. So that's just it goes. So for people that maybe do not have a lot of qualification, we list their most recent and most highest. So that's the way in kind of listing academics, That's how you list it. So if you're also working on a CV for masters or for PhD, the style is also actually very different too. If you are doing that after your if information summary document, for that one, your education will come first. So when you are working on an academic CV, it's different from a CV from a regular one, because for that one is your education you are trying to highlight, because for that one you're applying for further study. So the first thing they want to see is your educational background. So for that one, you can list your education first before you move to skills and experience. You get, but for regular, regular CVs, job search, the education can come way below that, because what they want to see is actually your skills and what you can do. Okay, so different CV types and different rules actually apply. Okay, so moving on. So writing a strong summary and work experience. Okay, I've already talked about this a bit. I said that, for the summary, it should not be more than 2 to 3 sentences, an overview of your skills, your experience. Then your work descriptions, use verbs that quantify your achievement and tailor it to the specific job. This is good. Um, right now, because of the way the market is, it's always better to like tailor your resume to the particular job you're applying for. The thing is that I actually do understand that, it could be a lot of work for some people, trying to manage, trying to ensure that they tailor their CV to specific job applications. Do you get? Because for every role that you're applying for, okay, you now be editing the CV. Do you get? So for some specific jobs, you might have to do that. And for some, you might just send the general CV. So that's why I kind of like advise people that, have a good CV, but apply to jobs in a particular industry, so that the particular CV that you have applies to a particular industry. So for example, I'll give the example of myself. I'm a customer experience professional with over 10 years experience. You get. So I can decide that, okay, this is my winning CV that I have is targeted to customer experience jobs. Do you get? Or if I also want a job in operations too, I can say, okay, this particular CV that I have is targeted to jobs in operations. So to make it easy for people, this is what I advise. I would advise that you choose like 3 or 4 specific areas that you want to work in and create resumes tailored to those particular roles, because it may be difficult or it may be hard for you to keep up with always trying to edit your CV to a particular role. Because in the way the job market is done right now, that is what is expected. Because what they try to do is that they want to see how qualified is this person CV to the job that we applied for. So that is what is expected. But if you find it difficult for you to like keep up with that, you get, this is another strategy that you can actually use. Like I said, check the type of verbs that you are using. The verbs need to be to show ownership of the things that you did. Do you understand? And quantify the achievements you get. For people that are into sales, for example, you can say that, okay, I was able to increase revenue and gross a number of so number of sales of, let's say, 50 million naira over a period of time. Because you need to put those metrics. So yes, you were a sales representative and you claim that you help the business, increase revenue. How and to what metric? Do you understand? To what amount? Do you get? So that's why it's very important to kind of like highlight the figures and what you actually did. Okay, so yeah, this is an example of a resume here that we have. Okay, this is just giving an example of a resume, common mistakes. I already explained some of these things. Education, make sure that it matches the job description. Include your soft skills, include your hard skills. I've talked about how you should increase your education, how you should add your educational qualification with the dates, very important. And yes, avoid spelling errors. And yeah, this is very important. As much as maybe you work on your resume by yourself, it's very important that you maybe give it to someone to take a look for you, or you copy it and paste it on some of these spelling check, software that we have, like Grammarly, like Vport and all that. Because sometimes when you're working on something by yourself, your mind will be telling you, oh, this is what I wrote, but it's another thing that you actually, wrote there. So some of those, things actually help. Then check the formatting. Another very important thing is that your resume has to be, everything has to be in the same format and it must rhyme. Do you get? So that's something very critical, because I remember one time I was on an interview panel at work and somebody sent in a resume with different formats. And the worst part of it was that he didn't even put this resume in a PDF format. That's also another thing. Please and please do not send your resume to any company or organization in a Word format unless they specify that. The reason why they request for PDF is because so that it doesn't break off. Because once you set it in Word format, once the person opens up the file, it's possible the person's computer might hit on it and shift something that you've already placed in a particular way. But if it's in PDF, there's no way that if someone opens the file, it's going to shift. So please, all CV applications should be sent in PDF, except if stated otherwise. Please. Very, 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 very important. Like I said, check the formatting and make sure that it's okay. Okay, so now general rules about resume. So now resume, I would advise that your resume should not be more than 1 to 2 pages. In fact, for some roles, they would even insist that they don't even want it to be more than a page. And to be honest, what exactly are you saying that is more than 2 pages? Because even if you have a lot of work experience, you have to actually cut it down. I had to learn that too. For example, during the start of my career, when I was in Compound Line Shop Limited, I worked in 3 different customer service roles in the 3 years I was there. So if I wanted to list that in my resume, it's going to make my resume long. So what did I do? I summed up all those experiences into one and linked it as customer service. So because those are some of the things that you do to kind of like reduce it, because in the end, all those roles, even if they were different things and I handled different things within the organization, different supports, functions, it was still customer service. So that's another way you can actually, for those that have long experience, you can actually shorten it, make everything into, just a precise thing. So during your interview, you can then maybe expand on it. But for the purpose of the resume, you need to actually maybe like keep it short. Okay, so using professional font to make sure that it's readable. This is a very important point. Most of the time, it's always advisable to use a font size from about 10 to 12. That's kind of like the standard, so that it's not too small and it's not too big. It's readable, by everyone. Another challenge is that because, people are trying to like put in a lot of things and squeeze things, they're not trying to reduce it to a font size of about 9 and 8. No, that's not advisable. So please, your font size should be at least 10 to 12. At least anything within that range is very okay. So use bullet points to separate, some of the job descriptions and details. Okay, like I said, save your resume in PDF before sending it. Please. It's very important. And I've explained the reason why that should be done. Okay, moving along. Let's see. Okay, so if anybody wants to maybe submit their resume here, you can send it on the chat. I don't know if you can do that, or send it to me on WhatsApp. I'll see it. We'll find a way to send it here so that we can even give you like a practical guide on what is on your CV, okay, and give you feedback immediately. That would really be nice. So Femi, if you'd like, I can see that you're on the call. If you'd like us to take a look at your CV and use it as an example, that'll be fine. So they can give you feedback on what is wrong, and you know what to do. Okay. Uh, let's see. Okay, so I'll move on. So if Femi wants to share his CV, let us know. Okay, so another thing you can do is to maybe by the time maybe you've written your resume by yourself and you are looking to put it in a particular format, there are a lot of tools that you can use to kind of like do your resume by yourself. You can use Canva. Canva is a very good tool to kind of like arrange your resume in a particular format. Then there are also some free ones too, like this Novo resume. There's also one I can't remember the name right now, but I know online. I think resume.io. I'm not sure if it's free, but that one can also help you. So yeah, so you can use that to kind of like put your resume in a particular format, because the formatting too also matters. That is, putting your first name and last name in this particular section, putting your contact information in a particular section, moving over to your professional summary, skills, experience, and all that. Very important. So you might need to use a software kind of like help you to kind of arrange it properly and put it in the right format for you to have the effects that you want to have. Then the coloring, the color too rather, is actually very important. It's not advisable to use bright colors. The color contrast to should be on point. If I decide to use white and black, I can decide to do white and deep blue. Okay, so color contrast too is very important. Don't make it too colorful and they can't really see the text and all that. That's that. Okay, so now I'm going to be speaking about what I do and how I can help. So for me, at Career Next Level, I offer coaching services. That is, if you need help with your resume review, you want to see that is it okay for this particular role I want to apply for? Can help with that. If maybe you need clarity on your career, like you have the feeling of feeling stuck and you don't know what to do to kind of like move forward, or you just have questions about your career and you need clarity, you can also help with that. But just to also recap, we also do LinkedIn optimization. LinkedIn is a very strong tool. Last week, we spoke extensively about that, 10 strategies that you can use to brand yourself on LinkedIn. So for those that missed the webinar, I would share the video of that session that we had on YouTube. It's already posted on the group again, so that for those that missed it, they can actually join that. So just to recap, for those of us that are just joining us, we were talking about how to write our resumes, the effective things we could do to write our resumes properly. So just to run through again, one, what we discussed was that you need to make sure that your first name and last name is highlighted. It's better to use first name and last names and not don't put three names or your middle names. As much as that is good, it's too much information. We also said that if you can highlight your LinkedIn and your GitHub in the information page, that would actually be nice. Then we also move ahead to say that after you've done that, we move ahead to your summary, career summary. Give us a brief overview of who you are, years of experience you have, the value that you deliver, and how the value that you're going to deliver is going to help the organization. That's the next step. Then we said that after you add that, you can either add your skills or experience. But for me, I would recommend you add your skills first. Let us know what you are good at and what you've handled in the past, like operations management, customer service, critical thinking skills, effective communication. There you can, if you have specific skills in any Microsoft Office skills, you can add it there. Then after you've done that, we said we should move over to your work experience. Then you write it in the most recent, stating the dates you worked there correctly. Then you also add the details of your duties and responsibilities, making sure that the verbs that you use are active and states, it may be depending if it's a past role, it will be passive that you manage. If it's active, you stated that what you are currently doing. That's also another very important thing. If you are still currently on the old role, you make it active. That's okay. I participate in weekly operations meeting, or I present. Okay, so if you are still currently on your, but if it's a past, you say manage to supervise and all that. So that's also another very important thing that I need to take note of, because I've seen some CVs where people have finished from it and they are still putting it in present tense. So that's another grammatical error that I think people should also take note of. So after we do that, we said you then move over to your certifications, depending on the type of roles that you're targeting. Give example of customer service, that if you have certifications or maybe data analysis in that particular area, you list those first before your education. Then we talked about education, that for those that have recent education, that if you have your PhD and master's, it's important to list those first before you list the lower qualifications, because if you have a master's degree, obviously you have a BSc. So it may not be necessary for you to list that, but depending. So that then lead me to now talk about academic CV. And for academic CV, I said that you needed to list those first. That is, if you are applying for masters, okay, after your career summary, you need to list your educational qualifications first, because for academic CV, they're trying to portray your most recent education and the value you're going to be delivering education-wise. So that's what I said there. Then another tip is their technical skills. For those that, for example, if you're a technical person, software developer, cybersecurity specialist, or if you can create a section for technical skills. That if there are specific tools that you are proficient in and you want to highlight that, you can create a section for that actually and also add it. So that's what we talked about. So let me stop sharing my screen. I'm going to take a moment to go and look for my own resume on my system here. Then I'll project it to kind of like use it as an example of how our resume should be like. Just give me a second. So after that, then we'll just round up. So it's loading up. I'll share that in a second. Thank you so much for your patience and sticking with me throughout this. Please note that the session is being recorded and you are going to post it for those that missed it. Please, once you receive the recording or the link on YouTube, please share with your friends that missed this particular seminar. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen shortly. Okay, yes, this is what I'll share. Okay. Okay, excellent. So please confirm if you can see my resume. And drop a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so now let's go to my resume so that you use it to as an example. Okay, fine. I saw something here that I didn't even mention. Okay, excellent. So now for my resume, you can see my name, first name, last name, and my address. I just put Surulere, Lagos. Another mistake some people make is that they put their full address, number 8. So it's not necessary, okay? Because you don't really want to expose your information to just anybody. Nobody needs to know your house exactly where you live. Okay, so you just put in the area Lagos is okay, because for some jobs, they would like to know how close are you to the office location, your proximity. So it's important to state the area there. So that's why this is important. And as you can see, the next one is the email, my phone number, and my LinkedIn. So if maybe they just like my name and all that and they want to check me out, they can just easily copy this and go check me out on LinkedIn. Okay. So the next stage, just like I said, is the personal summary. So it says a highly motivated and results-driven customer experience leader with over 10 years experience in managing and optimizing customer service operations. Like I said, who am I? My years of experience. Now the value I'm going to deliver. Demonstrate ability to significantly improve customer satisfaction to this and put in metrics through strategic leadership, process improvement, and data decision making. Expertise in building and motivating high-performing teams, resolving complex customer issues, and aligning customer service strategies with overall business objectives. This is excellent. Overall customer service with business objectives. So that's the value that I'm delivering. So I'm linking it back to the value that I'm delivering. Proven ability to bring strong client relationship and foster positive customer experience, which is what I'm trying to do. Building good customer relationship and giving good customer experience to the customers in any organization. So I'm stating that clearly. So I also learned this from someone that you should also put the title, of your CV. So for me now, I'm a customer success specialist and customer experience that is clear. So this is also something I also learned recently, that you could also add, this. Now looking at this my CV now, I don't think I've seen a mistake, but I don't know, can anybody that is on this call identify what it is? I want to know if, because I'm just looking at it now and I'm seeing it. Can anybody spot out, what it is here? Because I'm just seeing it right now. Okay. Okay, we have Lawa Ronke on the call. Femi, you have been following us, but you've not said anything. Did you notice anything? This is my resume. Okay. Okay, no problem. I'll get back to it at the end, but let me just continue. Okay, so I move over to the skills. These are things that I do that I can do. Matrix tracking and all that, some of the software tools that I can use, stakeholder management, using verbal communication and all that. So then I moved to my current role, which is client operations supervisor at Teleperformance, because Nigeria current from January 2023 till date. So, and I put the things that I did, my achievements, the number of people I supervise, okay. Then head user support at Transnet Music, the period, the things I did, customer experience supervisor, Africa Delivery Technologies, the things I did, Matrix, then customer verification analyst in Technology Africa. Then yeah, I talked about this earlier, customer service representative, Conga Online Shopping Limited. All the roles that I did, 3 years, three different departments, but I summed it up. Then moving over to certifications. See, my education is still below. So as you can see, certified customer experience specialist. This is the most recent certification that I did last year. Then beginner business course in data analysis. The certified customer experience level 1 for customer service coaching. The certified customer experience manager CCMA, 2022. Then my education, my education. So you can see now, for me now, the certifications are more relevant to what I'm applying for than the education. So that's why I had to highlight that. So this is a typical example of how a resume is supposed to be. And as you can see, the job descriptions are quite short, like see three for each, some 4, some 5, depending. So they're really quite short, straight to the point, and it's, they talk about what I did. Okay, so back to the resume. So now I've seen the mistake that I saw here in the resume. It's not, yes, it's this. Look at this now. The format that is here, because I had to type this separately, is different from what is here. So this is what I'm talking about, and I'm definitely going to change this on mine. So, but it's just to give feedback to people too, that for someone that is very, let me use the word finicky. The person could notice this, that, okay, fine, you're adding a title, but why is this, font size different from the one that is here? Do you get? So as much as this is good, this is, it's not, this is something that should be updated because it should match the font size that is also here. So please, let's not make this mistake that I have on mine. And, I'll definitely correct this. So this is like a lesson to me and to everyone. Okay. So yes, this is basically what I wanted to run through, just to guide people on resume review, things they need to do and all that. So does anyone have any question on resume reviews? And you can ask.